Hi, we're here in room 5 with Miss Rachel Reeves. Now, a fun fact about Miss Rachel has been an alumni of our school, went to school here from preschool all the way through 6th grade. And years ago when I taught kindergarten, Miss Rachel was one of my kindergartners. So it's been really fun to see her be a little girl, grow up, go to college, and be back with us as a teacher. So I'm really excited that you're with us, Miss Rachel. Tell me about the children in your classroom.
So room 5 is the youngest forest class. They all start the year as 3-year-olds, and then over the course of the fall months, so September to December, they turn 4. So when they start, they're really little and they can't do a whole lot, and then as they progress, they get a lot closer to kindergarten and they learn a lot of cutting skills and how to write their names on their own, whereas when they start, they don't even really know how to hold scissors or hold a crayon.
Perfect. Tell me about the children in particular in this classroom.
This class is very talkative. They all have a lot to say and they like to tell a lot of different stories, but it's super fun to listen to all the different things that they say, and it's fun to watch them grow from kind of like parallel play to talking to their friends and talking to them all day long and playing with each other and all of that. But they're also very sweet and they're very snuggly. They just want to like be cuddled all the time and loved on, and it's my favorite part about them.
That's wonderful. What do you miss the most about not being together?
I miss talking to them because they're all so talkative and they have everything to say and they just want to like tell you stories about their life all day, every day, and I just miss all the different stories that I get to hear.
I do too. Well, let's look at their work.
Do you remember at the beginning of the year when we learned about our sense of touch and we learned about germs and how they're spread, and we put glitter on our hands and we touched stuff around the room? And then this is when we made germs. Do you guys remember that? So we started by putting paint on the paper. We used the squeezy bottles, and then you guys got to fold them in half and you guys had to pick how many eyes you wanted for your germs and put them on, and I think this was probably one of your favorite crafts. And then we started to cut around the time that we did farm. So do you guys remember taking pieces of paper and you guys cut them out, and then we traced your hands to make the carrots, and you guys got to decorate your cows, and you used the strips of paper to make the spots. And then we started cutting a little bit more, and you guys practiced cutting out apples, and you sponge painted the apples, and then we cut out leaves, and then that was kind of our beginning of the year cutting. And then we started to move into the winter time, and we learned all about different Arctic animals, and we practiced our cutting skills here by making a penguin. And do you guys remember cutting the penguin out? And we cut on the lines and then you guys put it together like a puzzle. Or when you guys went from cutting just little tiny strips of paper to cutting out circles and triangles, and you guys made foxes, and you guys had a lot of fun with that, and I was actually really impressed with how well you guys cut everything out. And then we started doing the animals, and we learned all about birds and pond animals and wild animals, and we made the little tiny ducks, and you guys cut out the wings, and you guys cut out the circles for the body, and then you guys cut out all the pieces for the turtle, and we glued them on and we made turtles. And then you guys were really, really good at coloring inside the lines. You guys started getting better at making sure that all your details were right, and so we made tigers, and then you guys made the frogs, and we read the pigeon book, and we cut out the pieces for the pigeon, and you guys cut out all of the, you cut out the body, and we made flamingos, and that was when we learned all about the wild animals. And this is when we practiced writing our names. So during the winter time, we started by having me dot the lines, and then you guys took the marker and you learned how to write your name. So here's Luke's, and Caleb's, and Henry's, and Clara's, and Lydia's, and Daisy's, and Michael Noon's, and Remington's, and Ainsley's, and Michael Zepeda's, and Jeffrey's, and June's, and Avery's, and Stella's, and Nina's. And then right before school ended, we talked about dinosaurs, and we practiced writing our names again. And this time, you guys did it by yourself, and I didn't have to help you at all. So here's Caleb's, and Ainsley's, and Daisy's, and Luke's, and Jeffrey's, and Henry's, and Michael Z's, and Remington's, and Clara's, and June's, and Lydia's, and Nina's, and Michael Noon's, and Avery's, and Stella's. Then we made handprint dinosaurs, which were really fun. And then do you guys remember when we learned about wild animals and you guys measured, this was a good math practice, you guys measured the gorilla hands. So you took Unifix cubes, little cubes, and you stacked them from the bottom of the gorilla hand to the top of the gorilla hand. And you guys counted the cubes all by yourself and said that the gorilla hand was 14 cubes tall. And then you took cubes and you stacked them as tall as your hand that we put right in the middle, and you said that they were 6 cubes tall. So this was a really good way of learning how to measure things, and you guys were really good at counting. I was really impressed with how well you counted one by one. Another thing that we learn a lot about is our letters. So do you guys remember doing our letter of the week craft? I know we had a lot of fun with it. So this one is A, which is the first letter of the alphabet, and it's Avery's. For this craft, do you remember cutting out all the little teeth and we glued the eyes on, and then you did a really good job of writing the letter A at the bottom. Then we went to the letter B, and this is Henry's, and we practiced cutting out more circles, and you did a really good job doing that, and you put together your bear, and you even drew the nose all by yourself, which was awesome. And then you wrote the letter B at the bottom. And this is Caleb's for the letter C. Remember when you cut out the triangles and you put together your cat all by yourself, and then you wrote the letter C, which was an awesome job because that's the first letter of your name. Then Daisy had her dragonfly, and we had remember when you had a lot of fun decorating and gluing on all the pieces to collage it? And your D is beautiful. And we went to the letter G. This was what we made during Christmas time. And Ainsley, you practiced cutting out the triangle, and we made a hat for the Grinch, and you even you even gave him the scary eyebrows so he looked like the Grinch. And your G is kind of awesome. Then Jeffrey, you have the letter J, and we cut out the strings for the jellyfish that went right on top, and you wrote your letter J at the bottom. And June, you cut out the crown for the K on top of the king, and you gave him a beautiful smiley face, and your K at the bottom looks perfect. And then Michael Noon, we made monsters, which you loved, and you did an awesome M at the bottom, which is the first letter of your name, and your monster looks really fun with his eyes. And you cut out all the triangles and the different shapes that went on top of your monster. And then Nina, we made a ninja, kind of looks like a Ninja Turtle, and you cut out the rectangle that went on his bandana, and you wrote the N at the bottom for your letter. And then this is Clara's, and your name kind of got covered up by the little tentacles, but you did a great job of cutting out the tentacles and gluing them on and made a pretty face for your octopus. And you wrote the letter O at the top. And then Lydia, you made a peacock, and you wrote the letter P at the bottom, and you cut out all of the leaves, or the feathers, for your peacock, and you did a great job doing that. And then Luke, we did Q for quilt, and we glued all the fabric squares on, and then you did a perfect Q at the bottom all by yourself. And a Remington, we did R for the letter of your name, and you did an awesome R at the bottom, and we made a rainbow. And this was when we were talking about Noah and God's love, and the rainbow being a promise. And then Stella, we learned about the snow, and so we did the letter S, and you wrote it at the bottom, and we put glitter all over it. And Michael Z, we did U for umbrella, and you did an awesome U at the bottom. So this is a craft that allowed us to focus on our cutting skills, and we learned how to cut out a lot of different shapes. But this was also the way for us to incorporate the color of the month that the entire preschool focuses on and the shape of the month that the entire preschool focuses on. So in the beginning of the year in September, our color is yellow and our shape is a circle. So this is where the kids started, or this is where you guys started learning how to cut, and you guys can see how you didn't totally cut on the lines, but that's okay because you were just learning. And then as we went through the months, you guys got a lot better, and eventually we got to March, which was our last month of the school year. So we did in December, we had the red triangle, and January was a white star, February was a pink heart, and then March was a green octagon. And you guys got so good by the end of the year, and you learned how to turn the paper and turn your hands and cut on the line, and your shapes were coming out so much better.
Wow, Miss Rachel, seeing all the crafts that you had with these children, it's amazing how much they grew from September until March. Can you imagine what it would have been like if we were here until June? They did great. You know, I just want to say that, boys and girls, we are really missing you, and we really love you. And most of all, remember that Jesus loves you.
My friends, I miss you so much, and I'm so proud of everything that you've done and everything that you're still doing. I love you, and I miss you, and I hope I get to see you again next year.